Hey, everybody. Paul here, along with Seb, Dirty Dan, the Music Man, and Jeff Hawkins here for episode number 6 of the Music Nerds podcast. And want to thank everyone for watching and or listening on either on the free audio feed or right here on YouTube. We're one day late due to different various reasons, mostly my fault. But I had a family thing. It was my father-in-law's 80th birthday. And it turned out I got back in time. I could have probably done the show, but I didn't think I would get back in time, so I didn't want to push it. Yeah, we had some great homework last week. We're going to discuss 2 classic 60s albums after doing new music last week. And we're also going to talk about the worst live concerts we've ever been to. And I'll run down some of my 1975 into 1976 now #1 albums and whatever else comes into our minds. So which one do we want to go with first? I know Jeff had some nice stuff he wanted to say about the band, but not so nice stuff about Love.
Let's get Arthur Lee and Love out of the way then.
Okay. I think it's a good idea.
Well, the funny thing is I think we're gonna have some mixed opinions on this one.
No, I feel like I'm the anti-Robert Christgau because everything he likes I just don't like, and everything I like he hates.
Who's Robert Christgau?
Robert Christgau used to be I believe he was the music critic for the Village Voice for a long time. Okay. He's one of these New York music critics that's very well renowned, but is also a legendary crank about things. I just wasn't feeling this album at all, and I didn't understand the praise. I thought it was okay, but it just like the 2 tracks that were the best were the 2 that the Wrecking Crew I thought played on. And if you don't know that story, and again, that Amazon documentary, if you've never seen it, is fantastic because it goes through. I mean, the Wrecking Crew is basically an army of session musicians that would be brought in by various groups, like the Phil Spector Wall of Sound, were all the Wrecking Crew. Glenn Campbell was a part of the Wrecking Crew. Carol Kay, an infamous bassist, etc. But what they'd also do is if a band was kind of like say they played on the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. They were the musicians behind that. Like if you had a group and they weren't quite up to snuff on their musicianship quite yet, the Wrecking Crew would play it on the album and then the people would learn, which fascinated me. There was if any of you know the 60s group The Association, who did Windy and Along Comes Mary and Cherish. Yeah. They were basically a bunch of pretty boys who didn't know how to play instruments. And the Wrecking Crew did that entire album. And then they learned the parts before they went on tour. That's how
I wonder if I was just watching that Billy Joel documentary, and I wonder if they might have tried to get the Wrecking Crew to play with him, because they were having a hard time finding some backing musicians before Billy just took over and said, "No, I'm using my own guys."
No, I don't think they did, because Billy Joel is such a headstrong dude.
Well,
that's also
because they tried putting him with Elton John's backing band,
yeah,
which was a disaster.
And then one day Billy Joel just decides, I'm not using my backing band. You know, there were certain idiosyncrasies that Arthur Lee does on his vocals, where it's like he'll do an entire verse except for the last word of it, and he'll take a pause right before that. And she knows the musicianship was fine, the music was okay, but I wasn't feeling it. And I think part of it is also I looked at when I went back to Apple Music and goes, groups inspired by Love. I don't listen to any of those either. So it might just be a hole in my listening ship.
What were the groups? What were the groups that they mentioned, Jeff, if I don't mind asking?
I think Psychedelic Furs was on there.
Yeah.
I can grab my. No, I can't.
I would think like a band like Yes, maybe.
Yeah.
No, I like. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I can see that though.
No, Yes is more progressive though than.
Well, that's what I kind of heard this as, like a little bit of Moody Blues, but they were more contemporary.
This was
Really?
ominous.
'Cause-
This was like an ominous album. I really
Yeah,
thought this was
this
an
is-
ominous album.
This is like a reaction to 60s hippie.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
psychedelic.
absolutely. Yeah. It's basically.
And it's more dark psychedelic, and I can
Dark
get into
psychedelic.
some dark psychedelic, but I wasn't getting into this at all.
The book
the
I'm
songs were
reading
good.
that caused me to bring this album up. That's what they're talking about right now in the portion of the book I'm at, and then Steppenwolf kind of did the same thing but differently. Like you're trying to get out of that whole psychedelic thing that was taking over music in 1967, and then this was the first band that did it, and then the band also, and Steppenwolf. Those were like the three that they focus on in this book that I'm reading, but obviously there's others.
And I'm a little perplexed because I really like Traffic, as you know, and Traffic's more of a jam band type thing. But the band went heavy into like folk.
Yeah,
and these guys are going heavy into something else, and it just
Probably the drugs are on. Probably the drugs are on.
So I'm like,
I mean, the horn sections were pretty good, I thought.
Yes,
too, and
the
that's
first
what
song
was
was amazing, like Alone.
Yeah,
I
the
did
first
like.
song.
I'm not saying like I liked it. I liked it a lot, but I'm not saying like I'm not saying it's like the best album I've ever heard or anything like that. But I was surprised that it wasn't a big hit. That's kind of what I'm saying, because it sounds like a lot of stuff that was a big hit. You know what I mean? Like, and so it just like, I don't know if maybe the timing wasn't right.
I came into this thinking to myself, oh, am I going to get something like the Doors or Zeppelin or something like that? I wasn't even.
I was expecting like Hendrix.
Like
I was
that too. Yeah, I was not even. That was around that era. No way.
I'll throw a group out. I was thinking something like Strawberry Alarm Clock.
Yeah,
Incense and Peppermints and all that, and those types of songs and things like that. But I mean,
Vanilla Fudge.
Vanilla Fudge is a good one. Actually, Vanilla Fudge is possibly the closest I think to this. But it's one of those things where you listen to a Vanilla Fudge album and you go, okay, that sounds like a hit. Nothing on this album to me, except for the opening track, I thought.
I thought the whole first side, the second side not as much, but I thought the whole first side sounded like everything I've heard on the radio from like 1970 to 75. Like not, like the huge hits, but like I don't know. And so for me, I heard some Pink Floyd in there. Some
early Floyd, I could see.
Yeah.
How many times you listen to it, Paul? Just out of curiosity, because they did say twice. Okay, they do say the more you listen to this album.
Oh, there goes Jeff. He's done.
Jeff's like, I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
No, I went to get my phone because I wanted to see some of the acts that they said.
They did say the more you listen to this album, the more you might actually appreciate it. And I listened to it once and I got distracted and I was like, I got to listen to this again. I listened to it a second time and I was like, it's okay. I tried a third time and I couldn't the third time. I just couldn't do it the third time.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What did you think, Seb? You liked it, right?
Oh God, no. I'm actually shocked that I thought I was going to be in the minority here.
Okay. So I'm the only one that did like it. Okay.
Yeah, I said to our mutual friend Larry Sternstein, who I think we all know, earlier, I felt like Elaine Bennis when she was watching The English Patient. Just like I couldn't understand it, and I listened twice all the way through, and I liked The Daily Planet. That was my favorite song, unfortunately not Superman, but I didn't understand the praise, and I read John Einerson, I believe is the pronunciation.
I'm not sure. It's either Einerson or Enerson. I'm not positive.
Yeah, so he said that the reason that it likely wasn't a bigger hit is because Arthur Lee wouldn't tour with the album,
right?
And he said that there's some jealousy because he got Jim Morrison signed and the Doors blew up, but he was only looking to play around California, so he played Whiskey A Go Go and those types of California spots, and so he was a legend there, but he didn't want to tour more. But yeah, I don't know, I couldn't understand the hype around the album, and it is. I read all of the praise for it. It's legendary. It's influential. I didn't get it.
Now, had any of you heard of this album or this band before this?
I did not.
No. Okay, me neither. Like before reading about it with John Einerson, and so I thought, well, maybe this is just a blind spot for me, but I feel like maybe it's a blind spot for like the world.
Here are the groups that they say are inspired by love: Echo and the Bunnymen. Fleet Foxes, the Pale Fountains, Belle and Sebastian, Teenage Fan Club, Mazzy Star, who I've heard of.
Oh, yeah?
The Stands, Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah.
I've never heard of any of these.
Yeah.
Other than the psychedelic, like the
I've heard of Clap Your Hands, Say Yeah, but
Yeah.
I've never got, and I've heard of all these groups. They just weren't. They were kind of in my. They were. They should. If I had been cool or alternative, they would have been in my wheelhouse in the college area. But I'm a terrestrial radio guy. So
they inspired these bands to make music that nobody ever listened to.
Pretty much.
So they were the poster child for that. No, I mean, because it was, like it's one of these albums that was not successful when it was released, and then over the years it became a cult classic to the point where like it's always on the list of best albums of all time. That, you know, like Rolling Stone will do one, and it was, I think the first one, it was like in the top 200, and then it's dropped a bit in the subsequent lists that they've done. But
it's a little like Anvil, if Anvil had inspired Nobodies. It's like a band that nobody's ever heard of or listened to, but everybody, they're your favorite band's favorite band, except this is like
that's like and like, so an artist like that would be like who's that guy, your favorite artist, he died a couple of years ago, oh man, I'm drawing a blank, guitar player, and when he died I didn't know who he was, like I'd never heard of him, and everyone was like,
Beck?
No, not Jeff Beck. But way less bigger than Jeff Beck. God, I'm killing myself for not knowing. But that kind of proves my point. No, I know. It doesn't matter. But it's like one of those bands when they say your favorite artist. You know that it's that kind of thing, I guess. And Arthur Lee apparently was like a musical genius, according to some people, but just wasted potential, I guess, is, you know, and drugs and alcohol obviously contributed a lot to that. And he ended up in jail for, I think, like 14 years. And then he came out of jail and had a comeback in the 80s, you know, touring with the band, a newly reformed Love, but never, ever acclaimed whatever little success he had with Forever Changes.
Bob Weir?
That might be it.
From the Grateful Dead?
No, it's not that. Oh man, I wish I
almost said Steve Cropper, but if you said him, I'd
I think it is Steve Cropper. No, Steve Cropper was from
he's from Stax Volt.
Blues Brothers, right?
Yeah, Blues Brothers.
Yeah. No, it's not that. It's somebody. John Prine.
Okay.
That's who I'm thinking of. That's who it is. Yeah.
You're right. You're right about that.
Okay. All right. So, we're mixed bag on that one. Now, the other one was Music from Big Pink by the band. Yeah. Now, this one I hadn't heard of until I think it was when I saw When We Were Brothers. And Jeff's gonna have some stuff to say about that biography that was out on, I think, Prime Video a few years ago.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, and it was a biography. It was kind of an up-to-date biography of the band, but it took you through their whole career up till now. But it was a companion piece to The Last Waltz, which was a 1975 concert film / biography of the band. And so they talked about this Music from Big Pink in the most recent one. I don't think they really talked about it much in The Last Waltz.
No.
And so I heard about it, and I liked it. Like, I think it was Seb mentioned that when he saw the track listings, I was like, oh yeah, I know some of those songs. Yeah. So, you know, I'll probably like this album. So I bought the album. Now, I told Jeff this, the other two of you don't know. I bought it on vinyl and put it on the record player. This was a couple of years ago. Put it on the record player, and I'm listening to the first track. And I have the track listing up here.
It's Tears of Rage.
Tears of Rage. So it's a kind of a weird sounding song to begin with, but it sounds really weird. And I don't know this song, but it's like, this is not great. Like, this just doesn't sound good at all. But I'm listening. I was like, okay, it's got to get better, right? So then I keep listening, and it's not getting better. And every song just sounds so weird.
I know why.
What is this? Then I get to The Wait, which I know, and I know very well, and I love the song. And it sounds weird. Oh. And then I realized I'm on the wrong speed.
I wasn't expecting that. Okay.
For whatever reason, this
best
album that I have is recorded in a different speed than every single other album I have. I guess it's not most albums are 33s, so this must be in 45 or 78. I'm not sure which, but I changed the speed and then it sounded fine, so I had to go back and restart it. And Tears of Rage still sounds a little weird, but it's a good song. Yes. And I mean, I think it's great. I listen to it, and every time I listen to it, I pick up things, and I've probably listened to it like a dozen times now. And I mean, Chest Fever is easily my favorite track on here. I love I Shall Be Released, although I do prefer the Dylan version of it, but I like their version as well. And I just think it's a great piece of music. And this was one that I think when it was released, musicians like just raved about this. Like fans were talking about Pet Sounds and they were talking about Sgt. Pepper's, but musicians were talking about this one because they just took music in a different direction than it had gone before, according to people I've read and things and stuff. So I'll start with you, Seb. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, so first, I know that I shared this earlier in our chat, but Rockin' Ronnie Hawkins was not Canadian, which blew my mind, and the band played for him as the Hawks before. And so as I was reading up on that, maybe destroyed my childhood. Ronnie Hawkins is known as a Canadian legend, so the fact that he's American,
from like Hamilton or something, right? Everyone thinks he's from.
No relation.
Peterborough. Yes.
No relation to Jeff, by the way. Okay. Maybe Ronnie was cat.
Roger Hawkins and Sophie B. Hawkins may be related to me, but not.
Ooh.
Right.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. So I actually started this by listening to a couple of Juno Awards performances because the band was inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame in 1989. Okay. So they played the Junos that year, and then 2 years ago, when Robbie Robertson passed away, there was a tribute to him, and they played The Weight on that as well. And there was a bunch of Canadian artists, a couple of Indigenous artists who I cannot remember the name of for the life of me. So it was very cool just to sort of see their Canadian history. The one standout on this album for me was Lonesome Susie, which I had never heard before, and it sounded like a melancholy Eleanor Rigby. It was fantastic. Yes. It was so good. I was just blown away by it. But the entire album I loved, start to finish. It was just very different, and the visceral reaction I had to the Love album, which was indifference or disdain. This was completely different. This just felt like a classic album, and I could understand the praise.
Levon Helms called Lonesome Susie Richard Manuel's failed attempt to write a hit.
Yeah.
But so that doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't good. It just means it wasn't a hit.
I'm not sure if Richard Manuel wrote anything after that either. That's why.
It's a good way to go out. That
one. He sang on that one.
I mean, he was kind of a high-strung individual. If you read about him and how he unfortunately passed away as well.
Yeah. So Jeff, you had something you wanted to say about something that touched you personally in this album.
Well, turned out I was wrong about that, but I'll get to it in a second. Well, I'll get to it. Well, there's two instruments that sound the same, the baritone and the trombone. So it's pretty great. But my journey to the band, being such a classic rock guy, has been long and winding, I've found, because on the radio, all you'd get are the Levon Helm led songs. You get The Weight, you get Up on Cripple Creek, and you'd get The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, if you got anything on there. So I listened to this a long time ago, and I kind of just went, whatever, kind of a thing, and I never really got into it until years later. But I'm also like one of the three people who bought Robbie Robertson's Storyville. I love that album. It came out around 92 when I was really becoming more of a music
Is that
nerd,
Somewhere Down the Crazy River on there?
No, I don't think so. I think that's the one with Go Back to Your Woods, that he wrote with Bruce Hornsby. Okay. It's a solid album. It's not. I don't think it's as good as his '87 self-titled album, which had Broken Arrow on it. I think has your song on there. But as I told Paul, the band is fascinating for a couple reasons. Number one, 4 lead singers, and none of them have a great voice.
Yeah. I like Levon, but
they take getting used to, because Levon has that Arkansas drawl. Richard Manuel has that really that falsetto that kind of grates glass at the same time. Robbie Robertson is very gravelly, and then I describe Rick Danko's voice as warbly. Like if you listen to Stage Fright, you're kind of like, is he gonna like break down and cry at some point? Because I'm worried about him. But yes, I love this album, and I Lonesome Susie is great. Chest Fever is my favorite band song.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. Period. That's a great song. Oh my god,
I love the version on the double album live that came out right after this, because they have an Alan Toussaint led horn section that goes into it. But during I love Garth Hudson's homage to Toccata and Fugue at the beginning, but during his organ solo, something I hadn't heard before until I heard it on my headphones, was as he gets into a solo, there's an underneath horn part that's doing a gliss kind of, and I thought it was a trombone at first. And I was like, wow, because that's it takes a lot of technique to kind of play that thing, and I'm a horn player, so I was like, oh, this is warming up. And then I looked at the thing, and at first it goes, there's not a horn on here, and then it says that John Simon played baritone on the album, and so he must have added that in there. But it's when they go into the carnival and the horns kind of join in underneath. It's really great. And yeah, Garth Hudson's also a hell of a saxophone player that a lot of people don't know that. They just know him for the organ stuff. But no, I like that. I like This Wheel's on Fire. I really like a lot.
That's a good one.
Tears of Rage was one of the first ones I ever heard from this album, other than The Wait. And yeah, it took me about 3 listens to get used to that, but after that, it became one of my favorite songs by them. I will say this, though. The band has done a disservice both by The Last Waltz and Once We're Brothers, which is marketed as Robbie Robertson and the band.
Yeah.
Because the history of the band is told by Martin Scorsese. And if you watch The Last Waltz, it's funny because the whole story is that Robbie Robertson came out to Hollywood in between recording and fell in love with and met Martin Scorsese. He goes, hey, why don't you score some movies? And he decided at that point, I'm not going to be on the road anymore, guys. The hell with this.
That was it for the band, right?
The band stayed together. Robbie Robertson. They put out 3 albums. Shockingly, there was one in '96 and '98.
Yeah, but as far as being the band,
as far as being the band, yes. Yeah. And then, and during The Last Waltz, it's like he's talking about him in the past tense, and the other guys are like, I don't understand why we're breaking up.
Yeah.
Which is very, and then you get to Once We're Brothers, and it's kind of a post-mortem because everybody other than Garth was dead. And so it's Robbie Robertson telling this story of, and I especially kind of got mad at music from Big Pink because he's like, oh, all these other guys are just laying around strung out on drugs and alcohol. Meanwhile, I'm writing all the songs, and I'm like, dude,
full of shit.
You are so full. Yeah, everybody else did as much as you did on this album, Robbie. I love you to death, but it's also colored my view of the band all these years, and that it was a Robbie Robertson frontman project. And it's like, Robbie, you never fronted on any of these songs. What are you talking about?
Paul McCartney's waiting for Ringo to die so he can do a documentary about
how
great he was on Sgt. Pepper.
No, it's the other way. It's the other way. Ringo's waiting for Paul to die so he can say, I was the real genius behind the Beatles. Yeah. But to me, it seems like the history of the band is actually one of those things that's actually true, where it's 4 very headstrong writers and vocalists, and Garth Hudson, who's a phenomenal musician, and he passed recently, in the last year, and he just didn't want any part of anybody's politics. But
he was the last one, but right?
Yeah, and also, the Once We're Brothers is all about Robbie Robertson telling you how much that Levon Helm had forgiven him for being a jerk about royalties. which I don't think is true necessarily either.
I would say though, despite the tainted view, I would recommend that documentary for anyone who wants to watch it. It's a great music doc.
It's fascinating. It really is. And this album is fantastic.
And I'll also, nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I can't recommend this Billy Joel documentary I'm watching right now enough. It's so great. I watched the first half today.
His first wife is my favorite character in any documentary I've ever seen.
She is amazing.
That woman is so put together. I want to marry her.
Elizabeth. She's the best. And right up Dan's alley. I mean, it's sometimes I'm listening to Billy Joel talk, and I think I'm listening to Dan. Okay, Dan, we haven't got your thoughts yet on this.
That's fine. Yeah, mine are pretty short, except for one story I have. I mean, I love this album. This album was great. And I was listening to it. I was like, why does this album sound like Bob Dylan, like some like Bob Dylan doing yacht rock almost? That's what I felt like it was. I was like, and then it made sense. I didn't realize that Dylan co-wrote a few songs on here.
Well, did you know that they used to be his backing band?
Well, they said it really didn't sound like Dylan's backing band, so I didn't know that, and I was like,
"Oh, okay, yeah."
I was like, I didn't know that. I was like,
when he went electric, when he went electric, they were his backup band, and everybody turned on them because of that.
And that's where they were just the band.
Yeah. I saw like Tears of Rage, Wheels on Fire, I Shall Be Released. I mean, he co-wrote those songs. I was like, oh, that explains why I'm hearing this. But as I'm going through the track, I love every song in this. And of course, The Wake pops up on there. And I was like, oh, I know this song so well. And my story with The Wait is essentially, I have a friend that he was dating this one girl, and they're still very good friends today. And his last name is Chester. Her first name is Carmen. So you can imagine. Yeah, it's ironic. And so we have a friend that does he's like a one-man band. He plays all instruments, the drums, the guitar, he sings, or do whatever. And he plays this song every time we were out the bars and pubs and whatever. And they would go out and dance to this every time. And we thought, oh, this is their song, because the lyric on there is, when I saw Carmen the devil walking side by side, I said, hey Carmen, come on, let's go downtown. But then she said, I gotta go, but my friend can stick around, basically saying, Carmen, keep the devil around. So we started laughing about that. And the other one was with the whole Chester thing, Crazy Chester. And we said, well, that makes sense. We call because he's kind of crazy. He's a little nuts sometimes when he goes out and stuff like that. And but the one lyric is, take a load off Fanny, and I always thought it said take a load off Danny, and I did not know that.
Wow.
I did not know that.
I always thought it was take a load off Annie.
It's Fanny. It's actually Fanny.
Okay.
And but when we were at the pub with my buddy, when he was singing this, I go, I didn't know it was that lyric. And he came back and he said, oh, it is. I go, I thought it was take a load off Danny. And he goes, well, I can change it, and people probably wouldn't even realize I changed it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, you started doing that, because we were always the three that were hanging out together. So it was like I was Danny, and then they were Chris and Carmen, and Chester and Carmen. And so it's just, and we thought, we definitely thought it was gonna be like their wedding song, whatnot. And even when they say, they're still good friends, they work together, they go out to places. Even when that song comes up, they still will dance together to it, just for kind of like nostalgia. And I thought that's really cute. So I thought that was really, really great song. And I was like, of course it's the best song, but every song was so good in there. I loved everything in that album. So yeah, it's a good one.
The best version of that song is from The Last Waltz with the Staple Sisters. That's great.
Oh yeah, no, the Staple Sisters. I mean, that movie is so good.
Yeah.
But also, I read the best comment, and it was Christgau who goes, you know what? If you don't don't watch the movie and you listen to the music, it's a much better experience, because they're not nearly as smug as they look like when they're playing. But
Robbie looked like he wanted to be anywhere else in the world when they were playing The Wait in that doc.
Okay, yeah. Actually, it blew me away when I found out Nazareth was talking about Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
Yes, you did not know that. And funny enough, they danced to that song in Nazareth, Pennsylvania too.
Well, that makes sense, because pulled into Nazareth. Yeah, you're not talking about
because no, they were talking about a guitar repair shop. That was there. That was legendary for being able to fix, I think, acoustic guitars. I think that's what that shop was famous for. But yeah, everybody thought at first this was kind of like a pseudo-religious song about, Mary coming into Nazareth. Nope, it's about getting a guitar repaired.
Well, I never thought it was the biblical Nazareth, but I thought it was I guess I figured it was Nazareth, Pennsylvania, but I didn't know it was a guitar shop. So there you go. Okay, topic number 2, the worst concerts. Now, whose idea was this? Was it Seb's?
Mine.
Oh, it was yours? Okay, then you start. Yeah. You probably got something.
I just wanted to put the idea out there. I kind of had 2, I guess, more or less. It's a concert that didn't happen. I'll start with that one. It was a concert that didn't happen. I was PO'd about this one. Aerosmith. 2009. Steven Tyler goes to Sturgis, breaks his shoulder or whatever he did, because he fell off stage singing "Love in an Elevator." And a few weeks later, he was scheduled to have a concert with ZZ Top over in PNC Bank Arts Center, and it was about August of 2009, I think it was, and they completely canceled the concert. Like they didn't get anyone else to play with ZZ Top or anything like that. ZZ Top just came back and said, "We're canceling, we're done." And I was like, "Oh damn!" I'm like, this would have been something else. The thing that pissed me off about this is that I never got my money back from this concert ever. So I was like, because one of my friends bought the ticket, and I don't know if she was BSing me or whatever. And it was a group of us, and she said, "Oh, I tried to return, tried to get a refund on the tickets, and they said it's non-refundable." And I was like, "Well, they canceled the concert." I'm like, "Why would it not be non-refundable? Are they rescheduling this?" And they go, "No, they're not." And I go, "Well, that kind of sucks." So that was probably my worst concert experience of the concert I never went to. The other one was I would say maybe it was 2006 or 7, and there was a concert I think might have been Pink. It was definitely Pink. I know that, and I was not too pleased with something that she did there. And I think it was Avril Lavigne, and I don't know who the third one is. It's one of those little put together concerts by a radio station they put together, and Pink was somewhere in the middle, and she went on a political rant about George Bush. And I'm not political. I don't say whatever you want to say. You say your piece, get it out of the way, and get to the concert. The problem is she didn't take 2 to 5 minutes of people's time. She took 15, 20, 25 minutes going on a rant about George Bush and politics. And negatively too. And I was just and she completely destroyed the mood right off the bat, from there in the middle of that, saying completely it was everyone's "Oh gosh, I don't even want to stick around and watch her right now. If she's gonna be like this." So some people did leave the concert, and I stayed because I think the main act was actually Avril at the time, but I stayed, and I was just after that concert, I go, I don't think I'll ever go see her again after this. If she's gonna do this kind of crap, and I think she's still doing that actually, from what I understand, she's still making political statements in some of her concerts. So if you put it in a song, that's fine, whatever, that's cool. I get it. I know Green Day does that. They put it in their songs, or sometimes they might say something right before the show, 5 minutes or so. But it just went on and on and on, and I was "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Let's get to the music, please."
Now, will you say that on either side of the politics?
Yes,
you just
absolutely.
Don't want to hear politics.
Absolutely.
So even if you agree with them, you don't want to hear it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yes.
I'm just curious about that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So for me, I had a hard time with this one because I was really having a hard time thinking about any concerts that I've ever been to that I didn't like. And it's hard because most of them I wouldn't buy tickets if I wasn't a super big fan of the band, really, because I don't go to that many. But there was a couple. The one that I thought of first was it was in 2006, and it was Guns N' Roses, or that's what they called it. But it was Axl Rose and a bunch of people that I didn't know. And the opener was Sebastian Bach, former lead singer of Skid Row, and he was okay, but he was probably about 100 pounds heavier than he was in his prime, and didn't quite have the vocal range, and so I was a little disappointed by that. Then they had a second act that was the Suicide Girls. Now, have you guys ever heard or seen the Suicide Girls?
Sounds familiar. I just don't.
They're
know
like a burlesque act, and they're naked on the stage, which sounds like it would be great. But I was there with my 15-year-old son.
All right,
are they on to interrupt?
Yeah.
So there was a famous website with the Suicide Girls, and so I used to know a girl who
that's
on the website.
That's what it is. That's
they were very
that's all.
Yeah,
but
so they were very famous for a while.
But I didn't know who they were, and I wasn't very entertained. I mean, I honestly wasn't even that attracted because they were kind of all tatted up, and
Yep.
yeah. So
and then teach the ways of the Suicide Girls.
Yeah, and then when they were done, so I think the concert started at 7, Sebastian Bach. And then the Suicide Girls probably came on about 8:30, and they were probably done about 9:15. And then we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited. We waited till midnight, 2 hours and 45 minutes before we got to Axl Rose. And I say Axl Rose because I mean it was called Guns N' Roses, but it was really just Axl. And I had seen them a few times, and this is the first time I'd seen them with this lineup. And he was okay, but he wasn't great. And I mean, I really I kind of had sworn I don't think I'm ever going to see them again. But then when they got back together with the original lineup, or almost the whole original lineup, I did go see them again. And I think it was like 2017, and they're phenomenal. So that was the one kind of bad experience. And then the other one was, there's a poster behind me. John Mellencamp. I think I briefly talked about this last time because we had bought in the VIP package, which came with a vinyl album, and we had great seats, and then he proceeded to do like mostly his new stuff, and then even the classics he changed them up, and he didn't do a lot of his classic songs. Like he could do probably 2 hours and I'd know every single song, except he didn't want to play any of that shit. So he just basically played what he wanted to play. And the people that were there it was a smaller venue. It was like maybe 2,000 people, and it was sold out. But they didn't really know any of that stuff, and that's not what they came for. So the experience wasn't even that great. And at the end of it, people on the way out were just, well, why didn't he play Jack and Diane? Why didn't he play Hurt So Good? And it's like, I don't know. So yeah, and my favorite is, God, I'm drawing a blank. I'm so bad at this podcasting thing. It's one of the early ones.
Pink Houses?
No, way earlier than that.
Hurt So Good. Jack and Diane.
Way earlier than that.
Oh, I Need a Lover.
I Need a Lover. That's it. That's my favorite, and he didn't play that either. So I was very upset. But yeah,
I'm here to help you with all your John Mellencamp knowledge for some reason. I don't know how that came in.
No, and the thing that really got me though was at the time, like it was one of the best concerts I had ever been to. Was seeing him in like it was when I was the year I graduated, 88, and I went with a girl. That was part of it. And the two of us just danced like crazy to this, like every single song. We had the best time of our lives, to the point where he did another he was there 6 months later, and I bought tickets the day they went on sale because I had so much fun. And then the second one was almost as good, and then this was not as good. So Seb, what do you got?
All right, so I had to look up the date on mine because I remember it vividly, but I couldn't remember exactly when. So it was Seether, and they played at the El Mocambo, which is a very famous venue in Toronto. Tons of bands have played there, the Stones, U2. Also, my sister, Cheap Plug, does a charity show there every year, and it's one of the best venues you could ever watch a show in. And I won these tickets. So there's a radio station in Toronto. It's 102.1 The Edge. They're famous because the Rush song, The Spirit of Radio, is about that station. And I used to win tickets from them all the time whenever they put on a radio show. It was really random, but for some reason I might have been the only person who knew how to enter the contest because I was winning like multiple shows a year. And they had put on, I think it was just prior to this, Blue October, who sings Hate Me. They were fantastic. They did a 2.5 hour show. It was just a radio show, free tickets, win to get in. It was amazing. So then the next one after that I saw was Seether. And if you're not familiar with Seether, there's probably a good reason, because they're terrible. They played maybe 30 minutes on this show in the venue, and the lead singer,
they're like a hard rock band, right?
They're a hard rock band, but it's funny because their most well-known song is called Broken, which is very much very light ballad, very radio friendly. And so the lead singer used to actually date Amy Lee from Evanescence.
Right.
And so that song Broken was a duet that they had. He'd actually recorded it as a solo, but he's an awful singer, so it never got any radio play. And then I believe it hit like number 2 or 3 in Canada, and then top 20 in the US. So it was a pretty big hit for the band. Just no stage presence, no charisma. They should have had Amy Lee there. They were dating at the time. Just do everything you can to save the show, because it was awful. And the worst part of the show for me was he started going on a rant about guys who abuse women and how much he hates them. And there's no proof of him doing anything specific to Amy Lee, but he was not a good partner to her. He had a lot of substance abuse issues, and she wrote the song "Call Me When You're Sober" about the relationship because he had a ton of substance abuse issues. So he was probably one of the guys he was talking about that he hates. So the whole thing was just weird, and even after the fact, finding that out, it was surreal. And I'm just kind of happy the band never caught on, because they, even as an opener, they would have been bad, but as a headliner, it was just awful.
I think the one I know by them is Remedy.
Okay.
Yeah, but
probably
I think I know that Broken song too. I just thought it was Amy Lee and didn't realize it was her. Or it was them. Okay, well that was not a great one. And did you have any, Jeff? I know you don't go to a ton of concerts.
I do have one. It's not a bad concert. It's a concert that also kind of didn't happen, but it was still an awesome experience. So in college, in the early times when I was in college, I was friends with the kids from Southwestern Virginia, because as all of us here are pro wrestling fans, those were the kids who liked pro wrestling still. So from rural Southwestern Virginia, I went to a nerd school. Not a lot of nerds liked pro wrestling, but the Southwestern country rural kids did. And my best friend in the band, 6'4" guy by the name of Chris Brubaker, big dude. We called him Brew. It was Hawkins, because he always called me by my last name. That's how I got it. Hawkins, we're going to Trax tonight. Trax is local concert hall. Dave Matthews every Tuesday, $5.
Wow.
But we're going to see David Allan Coe. Outlaw Country. Also famous, if you were an old school wrestling fan like me, of being one of those musical acts that always played with Dusty Rhodes and the Great American Bash.
That's how I know him from. Yeah.
Yes, he actually appeared on World Championship Wrestling at least once in the Techwood studios and stuff. So we go. And it's 90 minutes past when it was time to start. And we're waiting. And he comes out with a bottle of Jack and his guitar. And he is obviously hammered. And he pulls up a chair and he starts to tune his guitar for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Wow.
And nothing is happening. And he's drinking and tuning his guitar.
How are people reacting?
There's starting to be murmurs in the crowd, you can imagine.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then David Allan Coe stands up, gets on the microphone, says, "Fuck you all," and leaves.
Okay, that's almost worse.
I thought you said the worst. That's amazing.
Yeah.
My buddy Brew turns to me and goes, "Hawkins, that's the most awesome thing I've ever seen."
Yeah. Honestly, I would rather see that than sit through 90 minutes of David Allan Coe.
Probably.
Yeah.
He'll just do the ride 20 times.
Just not my type of music. Apparently, I'm told I don't like soul either, but that's
what?
I do. It's just
I'll
somebody told me I don't. So yeah, okay, there we go. We got some bad concert experiences after sharing our good ones a little while ago.
Jeff had an interesting comment in the comments over here, and I kind of got taken back as Seb was talking.
Columbia House, yeah.
I was like, I did not know that. So if you guys owe any money to Columbia House still from 1990,
maybe if we pay them, they won't have to shut down. Because I think my highest bill was about $200. I think I owed them at one point, and somehow they got out of it because I didn't pay them.
That's a lot of music. They're all 1 cent CDs.
No, Dan, no.
Their grift was when they'd send you the selection of the month and you didn't want it, and they charged you like $40 for it.
It was more like 25. Yeah. But even the good ones, like you could get an album from them like regular price, maybe $10, but they were always shitty albums. Pardon my French. So if you wanted a good album, it was like $25. Like if you wanted to buy like Thriller, or this is my time frame, you guys are probably more like Backstreet Boys or, like a little bit older or Red Hot Chili Peppers, Spice Girls. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're $25 when meanwhile you're getting 14 songs for a penny or 14 albums for a penny. And then you have to pay regular price. That's a small print. You have to order 8 albums at regular price over the next 2 years. So if you didn't order any, or if you did order and didn't pay, hands up. Or if, like Jeff said, the scam was they would send you the selection of the month if you didn't tell them not to.
Yep.
So, and then they would bill you for it. Yeah. So you would get this album you didn't even want to begin with. I remember I did get a few of those. Like I wish I could remember.
Yeah, you just put it away and you forget about it, and then all of a sudden they're gonna send somebody over to break your kneecaps.
But it would be like the Psychedelic Furs or like something. There's no chance I'm ever ordering. That was the selection of the month.
People like the Psychedelic Furs, Paul. I didn't mean to mean it as a
or it would be like if it was Billy Joel had just released Glass Houses. Oh, that's a little bit before my time of doing it, but they would be sending you like Moonlight or a Serenade, Moonlight Serenade, or whatever that album was that nobody bought. Like that's the one that they would be sending you as the selection of the month. Yeah. So yeah, it was.
My parents got. Well, there was that one, and then there was the other one where you get like 5 for a penny, and you only had to buy one within a year. But their selections were worse, and also edited versions of the CDs.
Oh my god!
Like if you got
I remember that.
Like if you got the Steve Miller Band's greatest hits, it'd be the censored version of Jet Rider or whatever, or Air, whatever.
I can't believe they're still around.
Well, they aren't after next month.
No, but they are now. Like, so kids are still ordering like 14 CDs for a penny, or are they getting MP3s?
No, everything's like streamed now, so I don't see how. The one thing I always wanted to do was I wanted to try and get box sets on the cheap from them, but they never really offered those in the
no.
7.
But they had some. Like I would always try to get the double albums because at least you would get more bang for your buck. But I mean, they always had like all the top hits. Like I got Thriller from there like 4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 times.
Well, yeah, your sister would like
cassette, album, CD.
No, like album, because your sister would go into your room and like put makeup on it or something, and then you don't have the record anymore, so you have to go order another one. So yeah, She's So Unusual. I think that was like my first one was like Thriller, She's So Unusual, Purple Rain, Sports, like that's my like 1984, 85. Like that was, my it was like basically like a greatest albums of the 80s was like my first order from Columbia House. Wow, that's a terrible memory. So going back a little further from that, I did continuing on my list of number 1 albums. I listened to Wind Song by John Denver, which absolutely sucked. Rock of the Westies by Elton John. I'd never heard of that album, but it did have a couple good tracks on it. Island Girl, which is, I guess you guys have never heard it. Like,
I just had forgotten it.
Okay, yeah, because it was number 1. Yeah, I didn't even, but it was number 4 here. And then, of course, Don't Go Breaking My Heart on the end was probably why it was number 1. Still Crazy After All These Years, Paul Simon. That was great. Chicago 9, Chicago's Greatest Hits, as Jeff put it. And this is where I learned something this week. S tier, he said.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I've never heard that expression before.
Yeah.
But it means top tier.
Superior.
And I agree.
Superior.
Yeah.
Superior.
And then Gratitude by Earth, Wind, and Fire, which I thought was fine. I didn't know any of the songs on it, but it was nice.
You didn't know Shining Star?
I did, but was that on there?
Yeah, I believe so.
Let me look.
On,
no. Wait, yeah,
on.
It is. No, you're right. Okay, so I did know that. Oh, and Sing a Song, I know.
Yeah,
so I don't know what I'm thinking. Like... I did know. Okay.
Again, another great documentary if you have not seen it.
Yeah, well, I saw a special they did on CBS a couple years ago where it was recorded now. It's just like a 2-hour concert thing, and it was awesome. Desire
and Reasons, which has one of the best stories on that entire movie, if you watch it, because people used to get. I'll tell it here because it's not spoiling anything, but like Reasons is one of those soft love songs that everybody gets for like their wedding and stuff like that. But it's about a one-night stand with a woman who's cheating on her husband, and Philip Bailey's just like, "Sorry, everybody, I know you don't listen to the lyrics or whatever."
That might be a topic for a future show. Misunderstood songs. That would be a good one. Well, let's put that down. Let's think about that for next week and come up with some misunderstood songs, because there's a lot of them. One I just was heard about today, and then that one, Desire, Bob Dylan, which was, it was a Bob Dylan album. It was fine. I was surprised it was number one. I mean, it's funny because he had like a bunch of number one albums in the 70s when he wasn't as big as he was in the 60s, and none of his stuff sold in the 60s. And I'll reference this Billy Joel thing again because he commented about that, and he said he likened himself after Bob Dylan, who was a guy who made good records that nobody bought, and that's kind of what he thought he was going to be, and then he eventually became successful. And then the last one I listened to was yesterday, Eagles' Greatest Hits. I didn't tell you guys this one because I was driving, but that was great. Like that was. I'm not a big Eagles fan, but that was right up there with that Chicago album because every track on this album was massive. Like Greatest Hits is Greatest Hits, but sometimes, if depending on the band, some of their greatest hits are songs I, didn't hear because they're not that great. But these are like 10 songs and they're all top hits that we all know. So that was a good listen, and I enjoyed that. And I try not to look ahead, but I noticed that the next one is a kind of a legendary album, Frampton Comes Alive. So I'll probably listen to that one later today. So yeah, you guys had any thoughts about any of those? No, not really.
What Eagles' Greatest Hits? And you said there was like 10 songs. What song like stuck out to you the most on that one? Like out of all the 10 songs that you heard?
They're all so well known, but yeah, like my favorite song on here is Desperado.
I love that song. Terry Funk's theme song as well from ECW.
Yeah,
remember that? Yep.
Yeah, and I like Best of My Love. Like I like the Henley songs more than anything. Yeah. This is 71 to 75, so some of their bigger songs.
This is the soft Eagles that we're talking here.
Yeah. So it's like Take It Easy, Witchy Woman, Lion Eyes, Already Gone, Desperado, One of These Nights, Tequila Sunrise, Take It to the Limit, Peaceful Easy Feeling, and Best of My Love. So
we can throw in another Elaine Bennis reference on this episode. So
oh, really? What's that?
You don't Desperado and Witchy Woman.
Yep. Oh,
those are both the whole Seinfeld episode about those two songs.
I was just thinking the same thing. Said I just heard Witchy Woman. I was thinking the same thing. Yep.
Okay, I should know that, but I was drawing a blank. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to mention was in our comments last week. I think it was in relation to the subject where we were talking about artists where you've kind of turned a corner on after things, and Seb's lady Mona had brought up how there's something about, I wish I had the comment here, maybe somebody can look it up, but she was talking about Pink and L.A. Reid, and so Pink started, and this is wild. So she's still one of the top touring acts out there right now. She hasn't had a hit in a while, but she started in like the late 90s, and her sound back then was completely different, to the point like when I hear some of her original stuff, like I don't even realize it's her. And the funny, she did that Moulin Rouge song, and it's funny because at the time, like I love that song, and I knew like in the back of my head that Pink was part of it, but I think somehow I've separated in my mind that today's Pink and that Pink are like two separate people.
Yes.
And so it's like I didn't realize that was her, and then you watch the video and it's her, like it's totally her. And you listen to it and you can hear it and everything, but she had a falling out, and basically like she did not like the way she sounded. She did not like any of that music she was doing, and she will not play any of those songs in her concerts anymore. And the funny thing is there's that one album, there's that one song, I can't remember the title of it, but I remember the lyric, and it's like, LA told me you'd be a pop star. All you'd have to change is everything you are. And I always thought it was a general comment about the industry. So she's talking about LA, meaning Los Angeles, like New York told me this, LA told me this, but she literally was talking about LA Reid.
Don't let me go. Don't let me get
me.
Don't let
me get me.
Yeah, don't let me get me. Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, it's I thought it was so I guess for Mona, I think, like, if I'm understanding her correctly, like she wishes she would play some of that old stuff again. I'm not exactly sure what the point Mona was trying to make, but that comment just struck me, and then I remembered like hearing that and always thinking like, LA told me you'd be a pop star. I didn't realize she was talking about LA Reid. So is that like a well-known thing that I just missed the boat on, or?
I only found out a couple of years ago about that specific lyric because I didn't realize the whole history that they had.
Yeah, but some of that old like stuff she did, it sounds like Destiny's Child almost. Like it doesn't sound like Pink.
No.
Like,
that Moulin Rouge song as well. I think that was I'm just looking up really quick. Christina Aguilera, Maya, and Pink, and who was the fourth one on there?
Missy Elliott, right?
Missy Elliott. Lil Kim, that's right. Lil Kim, yeah.
Oh, Lil Kim, yeah.
That was the remake of the LaBelle song.
Yes,
right?
That was a remake of the LaBelle song. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, if you listen to Most Girls, that came out in like 2002. It was a number 4 hit. That does not sound like Pink. Like, I mean, and I listened to it a little while ago, and I was like, okay, is this like Robin? Is it Eve? Like, there's no way. Like, and no, it's Pink. Like, yeah. And I think I didn't even realize that the song was called Most Girls because I heard it just a little while ago, and then you go to the concert and it's like, oh, she's not playing any of that stuff. Like, she won't play anything until like Get the Party Started. That's like the first song she'll play, and that because I think she wrote that album Misunderstood, and that's why she's like proud of that stuff. So
yeah, if you look at her career though, she was arguably the least famous person on the Moulin Rouge song
at the time,
Lady Marmalade at the time, and now afterwards she's arguably Maya. The most famous.
Yeah.
Well, Maya was pretty big back then, and Pink was literally just getting started, right?
Yeah.
Was Pink? Did she jump from L.A. Reid to Linda Perry, a 4 non-blondes, or am I misremembering that?
That sounds
Linda Perry
right.
is I know that she has a big hand in her career.
Okay,
yeah. She produced Misunderstood, which came out in 2001. Yeah, and that's the one that had Get This Party Started, Don't Let Me Get Me, Just Like a Pill, Family Portrait. So I was like, that was a huge album. That was 2001. So the difference in sound between her from 2001 to 2000, it's like 2 different people. Like, maybe we should listen to that at some point. But I think, Jeff, you got the homework. I think it's your turn, right? I think. Do you have anything in mind, or does it? If you don't, I kind of sprung it on you. If anyone else has anything they want to.
By the way, Linda Perry, the former lead singer of 4 Non-Blondes, which is why I bring that up, because I can't stand that song. What's up? I
don't blame you.
No, I don't have anything ready, so I'll fix something.
Okay, do either one of you guys have anything, or? I can come up with one if we don't.
I have an idea, but I don't know. I don't think you guys are gonna like it.
That sounds promising. I think Seb got
listen to any music before the 1900s.
No.
Yeah, so I told you what.
No.
I want to listen to Chopin. What are you talking about, dude? Some funeral dirges? We are all up in that, yo.
I'm not doing that.
I used to play viola, so I'm down with whatever.
Oh yeah,
classical stuff. I did have a request for a question.
We're gonna be bumping some Bach, some Beethoven, some Tchaikovsky.
Seb's got a request.
Brahms, Bach, and Beethoven. Are probably our biggest fan outside of my girlfriend Mona. Her best friend Syra listens every week, and she wanted us to say which song really emotionally resonates with us based on the music and the lyrics, something that touches you. Her example was Hallelujah, and so just pick something that.
So maybe we could think about that for next week and give a good answer, and maybe even some stories about why, everything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's. You know what? So for lack of anything better, let's listen to those two Pink albums, the one that she released in 2000 and the one that she released in 2001, and we'll talk about the differences between them for next week.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. So that's just about going to do it. So we got that. We got what songs that emotionally resonated with us, and I've got a couple in mind. So I'll try to narrow it down to one. All right. So for Jeff Hawkins, for Seb, for Dirty Dan the Music Man, I've been Paul Fontaine, and this has been the Music Nerds.